Like, it
What
just
I
doesn't.
think is really interesting, though, and I guess I can ask your take about it, is I feel like Punk is kind of in a similar situation to how Drew McIntyre is going about things with Roman Reigns, where Roman was an absolute terror, right? When he was the tribal chief. And then he loses the title at Mania. He comes back like 6 months later, whatever it was, 4 months later, 5 months later. And everybody has apparently like wiped their brain clean of what that man did for 4 years, right? The fans are in shock and awe and, you know, putting up the ones every single week as if nothing had been happening for the 4 years before, right?
No,
Same
he was
thing
not
with
a
the
dictator.
Yeah, same thing with the locker room. So that is the basis of Drew McIntyre's beef, right? And so that's why we've said Drew his anger is within common sense. Like, it makes sense. He's not saying anything wrong. And that is why I think, you know, they teased this matchup of Seth and Drew, because Seth is kind of dealing with a similar problem with Punk. Punk was in the company, he left and was a menace for 10 plus, whatever it was, 10 years. If he wasn't on a podcast, as Seth said, talking trash about WWE from top to bottom, he then was joining, you know, UFC and talking downly about fake fighting. Then he goes and joins the competition and was on like a weekly basis down talking the company. And so it's like they're fighting for the same thing, but the fans aren't receiving it that way, you know? So it's gonna make it really interesting to see how they go about this. And I talked about this before, because the Roman Reigns thing, obviously it's different because he was just wreaking havoc in character. So like WWE backing him as a good guy isn't like controversial. But if they back Punk in this feud, where the basis of it is Seth being a company guy, taking over the company and trying to be the face and like trying to keep the company afloat, while the other guy that used to be one of the faces of the company is out there trash talking, joining the competition, and then comes back and you're putting him as like the good guy in this situation.
Yeah, that's nonsense.
That's nonsense. And so that's why it's going to be interesting, because I said, like, the fans are still split. Like, you can tell they don't know exactly who they want to cheer for, who they support more, because Seth comes out, they're singing his song, they're cheering, they're whatever. Then Punk comes out and it's CM Punk. So they don't know who to support, but it might get to a point where they have to distinguish who's good and who's bad in this situation. But WWE is kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place, because how do you really genuinely prop up the guy who shit on your company for 10 years as the good guy in this situation when the other guy is the face of your company while he was gone?
That's why it's so awesome. That's why this promo battle was so incredible.